Hi, and welcome to the Wildling Podcast. I told y'all I was gonna be in the exact same outfit and stuff from the last one because I was gonna just jump right into the next one, and that's what we're doing. Anyway, today we're gonna talk about ambition and how it can be not great for us. Where do I want to start with this? I personally am a very ambitious person. I don't know why. I think actually for creatives in particular, it's kind of just a byproduct of that. But even people that are not on the kind of creative, want to do their own thing, they can also be very ambitious. So that's not necessarily, not trying to box people in here because you can be going for one particular job and put your all into that and be very ambitious with your goals. And on the flip side, you can have like 20 things that you want to do and be very ambitious with that as well. Okay, so I'm not trying to box anybody in here. However, if it's for you, if you are ambitious, I get it. And at the same time, there are people that lack ambition. And that doesn't necessarily mean that's a bad thing either. They could be quite comfortable just not having that same kind of motivation, goals, dreams, whatever. Like they're totally fine and happy and content and feel at ease and peace with where they're at. And that's okay. And then there's some people that they're not happy and content with where they're at, but they don't really know how to change it. They don't really know where to start. They don't really know where to go from there. Let me try to cover some things here. I am on the side of being ambitious sometimes to my own detriment in the way that there are a lot of things that I want to do with my career and my endeavors in general. And I often have a hard time narrowing down where to start. That is something that I struggle with, is narrowing down where to start because you can't do them all at once. Well, I guess you could maybe, depending on what it is. And yeah, so it's like trying to decide where do I start with this and then adding things in as you can or as you go along, especially if you're trying to do your own business, entrepreneurship, content creation stuff, whatever it may be. Maybe it's physical business. Maybe it's medical phys meta wait, metaphysical business. It can be so many different things. And if you are very ambitious, you are likely to run into that issue of having so much that you want to do, you don't know where to begin. Now, that is not going to occur if it is a very linear path. Because that is honestly, I'm kind of envious of people that have that because it's so clear. And I'm not saying that it makes the journey easy. That's not what I mean. But having that clear path, that part is so much easier. Let's say, for example, you want to become a surgeon and you want to be the best surgeon. Let's narrow it down even further to a brain surgeon. That's a clear path. You pretty much know that you have to get good grades, you have to go to school. It's very clear on the steps that you have to take to get there. You should also be doing a lot of research into where exactly you want to go, research on all of it. Like, what's going to make me the best? What is going to set me apart from just getting by? What is going to make me the best neurosurgeon possible, where I can be an amazing doctor to my patients? How do I do that? And what does that look like? So that can take research in itself, and it is not an easy path. That is one of the most difficult careers to choose, to accomplish. It's a big fucking deal. Not minimizing it at all. It's a very clear linear path. Now, then you've got people that, like me, for example, I know logically that algorithm loves consistency and it loves to have a very clear cut, what are you presenting here? What is your niche? What is your thing? And I have a hard time doing that. I am all over the place. I am all over the place, okay? If you are one of those people that's like, I'm a chef, so I'm gonna show my food. That's much easier because you are clear cut path. That's what you're gonna show. If you even wanted to add in more, but still keep it within your niche, still easier because you can take them to the market. You can show them all different kinds of things around that. Like, how do you clean and organize your kitchen? What is your favorite knife set? What are your favorite pans and why? You can teach people so much within that realm. Or you can just turn on your camera and cook, then come out with a cookbook, sell tons. That is still pretty clear cut. And then someone like me, I uh, I love doing podcasting because I enjoy it. It's a hobby. If I got to the point where I was more, I don't know, available, uh, popular, whatever, and I got a bunch of guests on, that'd be awesome. I'd love that. I've done that before, and I would love to keep doing that. This is still new, first of all. And I don't expect it to just blow up, right? That'd be cool, sure. But it's a hobby and I just enjoy doing it. I love to come on and yap, okay? Because there have been so many things that I have learned along the way, and I realize there's so many people that just do it. They just put it out there. So I just really got to a point where I was like, why am I not just doing that too? Why am I not just throwing it out there? Maybe people will enjoy it. Maybe people will show up. Maybe they won't. But I'm gonna put it out there anyway. Let it fall where it may. And it's been kind of fun. I've learned new stuff. Sorry, my ankle is itching and the chair's making a weird ass sound. But that's what that is, if the mic picked it up. Um, my foot's starting to go to sleep, so it's getting itchy. Um, I sit weird. Um, anyway, I I've learned new skills and I've gotten even more comfortable with what I do. I've gotten more comfortable with just podcasting. I've gotten more comfortable with making TikToks. They're always for fun, but still, I've gotten much more comfortable with it because I've just been doing it. If you watch the first episode, even just the first episode of the first podcast that I did, Dark Desires, which if you're on YouTube, there's a playlist for it. And I've said it before, but I'll say it again. I had created the Dark Desires podcast because I was trying to put it in my little niche. How do I want to start my niche? Let's make it sexual wellness. And then I was like, no, there's so many other things I want to talk about and do. And I did do that on the podcast. I also, the all the episodes for it on YouTube are different episodes than the ones I have on Spotify for it. and the spicier ones are on the Spotify, but they are different. Even though it was all technically within the same season, they're not the same. Anyway, I hate being boxed in. It does not work for me. I don't know if that is the ambition or if it's something else, but I cannot be boxed in. That is one of the reasons why I did not continue to become a licensed therapist. I stopped. I said, no, I'm not going to get boxed in. I don't want to do that. I don't want to have to follow somebody else's fuck ass rules that doesn't help every single client, patient, person, whatever you want to call them. It, ugh, I don't want to be one that is stuck with insurance issues and dealing with that and boxed in with that. And just, it was just this whole thing where, and I didn't like the schooling of it anymore either. I was like, I feel like I'm learning the same kind of shit over and over and over. And I understand like that can help with your just soaking it in and remembering it. But it was too much of the history of psychology, which is so outdated that I didn't feel like it was enough anymore. And I was still seeking other certifications, relevant certifications to what I wanted to do and how I wanted to help people. So why would I keep going and paying an obscene amount of money for another degree and then another degree? Because, well, okay, so also, when I decided I didn't want to be a licensed therapist, so I stopped at a bachelor's. And I decided if I was going to continue at university at all, I was going to go for neuroscience. So I wasn't even going to stick with psychology anyway, because again, I didn't like it. I didn't like how it was presented. I didn't like how it was done. I didn't think it was enough. So I was done with it. I felt complete with that part of it. As a matter of fact, even though it has kind of helped me, I still wish that I hadn't even bothered with the freaking bachelor's. So that's another thing. Don't feel like you absolutely have to have a degree unless it is for something specific, like being a neurosurgeon. I mean, come on. Yeah, duh. You're gonna have to have those degrees. But if you are unsure, you don't have to waste your time and money. But I will also add that there can be a lot of valuable things that you learn along the way in doing that. There can be a lot of good things to it. So I don't necessarily regret it, but I just am glad that I didn't continue when it didn't feel right. So there's that. Also, if you want to do any kind of blue collar work, highly recommend. Highly recommend. Absolutely. If you can do it, do it. It is so needed, and I love blue collar work. I, at one point, had a few that I wanted to pursue, but at the time, it was still like, you're a woman, we're not going to have you here. Yeah. So that was a thing. And then when it started being more accepted for women to be a part of it, at that point, I was at a place in life where I couldn't make it work. And then now I have so many health issues that my body wouldn't be able to tolerate it. Like my heart issues alone, I wouldn't be able to be like in the heat and stuff like that. So, yeah. Anyway, if you can make it work, do it. Do it. There might even be some stuff along the way where I'm like, well, if I were in a supervisor role, though, it's still in the field, but I don't have to necessarily worry about my health as much. Figure out what's going to work well for you and go for it. If you chase something and you get there and you realize, I don't like this anymore, or this isn't what I thought it was going to be, or whatever, pivot, change it. Don't waste your life being stuck in some bullshit. Even if you worked really hard to get there, you could work your ass off to become an attorney. And then you get there and you realize, ah, I hate this. This is not for me anymore. I need to do something totally different. Then do it. Life is extremely short. Extremely short. I look back on my life and think about so many things I should have done differently, so many regrets that I'm trying to work through, so many things that I would change. There are a lot of people that they can look back on their life and be like, oh, yeah, um, that sucked, but it got me to where I'm at now, so I don't regret. Okay, good for you. That's not me. Anyway, so I basically, I'm not trying to say that this has to be about one particular thing. I know I already said that, but I just want to say it again. This doesn't have to be about one particular thing. And for me, I I thrive when I can listen to my body. I thrive when I am not stuck to someone's schedule, someone's rules. Like, I don't do well with a regular kind of job. I just don't. I do not do well with that. I get so much sicker. I feel miserable and I hate it. Even if I don't hate the job itself, I can make it work. Even if I like the people that I work with, even if it's something where it's like, okay, I'm making a difference here. That is not for me. And I know that. And I cannot wait to be able to be done with that because it is not a good fit for me. Some people thrive on having a set schedule. Some people thrive on having a set rules from someone else. That is not for me. That is not how I operate. And there are a lot of other people like me, especially I think it's even more so for the neurospacey people. If you're on the spectrum, dealing with other people's rules it fucking sucks, especially when you think they're stupid. They're dumb. Anyway, we just we're in our own little worlds. But I also I tend to need to have that spontaneity of feeling where I'm at and going with it as it's available. If I need a day where I need to do the girl rot and just scroll on my phone, and that is my day, that then I need that in that day. And that is going to help me to get a lot of shit done the next day. And sometimes it's like a full week of getting a bajillion things done. I mean, there was, for example, okay, because I go to therapy, I love my therapist. Find one that you love and fits really well with you. Try all different kinds of healing modalities. Absolutely. Try every kind of healing modality, see what feels right for you. Change it as it needs to be changed. If it needs to be changed, just be so fucking open to it. Unless it is involving any kind of like substances, even if it's like psychedelics, it's amazing for people, and you want to do it in a very traditional, ceremonial way. Still look into it. Be so fucking careful so you don't break your brain. I've been through this in another episode. Not gonna keep going in, again and like all the details of it, but just be careful. Anyway, um, uh, ugh, I gotta get better about the filler words. Anyway, I also say so and too much, I think. Kind of hard to break these weird little verbal things. Where was I at? Oh, right, my therapist. I adore her. And I see her weekly. I had I took up the entire 1 hour session updating her on the shit that I got done from that other week. It took that long just to go over the amount of things that I had gotten done. And even she was like, "You are really ambitious. That is a lot." And I was like, "Yeah, sometimes it's not a great thing though." And I guess that's something that we're gonna have to work through. Let's unpack that sometime. I, again, I thrive when I can just go off of my own schedule. And that's how I hit it sometimes, where I am just hyper productive. And then I reach a point where I'm like, all right, now I am overstimulated and need to figure out my next moves. I need to take a little break. Sometimes that comes along with my cycle, where I'm at in my cycle. And yeah, it's a real thing for women. Um, but anyway, if you are a very ambitious person, it could be a good idea to work with someone about it and help you work through things. And of course, pay attention with yourself as well. Pay attention with yourself. If it helps you to voice note it to yourself, if it helps you to write it out, journal style, calendar style, take a note style, whatever it may be, or to look up ideas. I'm sure there's a ton. Then go for that. Maybe write it all out. Every single piece of ambition that you have, every idea that you want to execute, write it all down. And then when you're looking at it, consider what feels really, really good to start with. What feels right to start with if it's all kind of chaotic and all over the place. And then work your way from there. And I personally don't think that, yes, the algorithms might like it better if you have one specific niche, but authenticity over performance. Okay? I mean, performative shit. Authenticity over being performative and making it fit into some standard, do it this way kind of thing. If, for example, you're making comedy videos and they're doing really, really amazing, or they're not doing amazing, whatever the case may be, and you just realize that, damn, I'd really like to show some videos of my cat. Add it. You don't have to necessarily make a different account for that. Just add it in, like whatever you're into. Be all over the place. Fuck it. People are really showing up for you more than anything else anyway. So it doesn't have to be one specific thing. If you want to play by the rules of the algorithms, sure, play by the rules of the algorithms. But don't feel like you absolutely have to stick to one thing when that doesn't feel good for you. Especially if it's in content creation, because the whole point is to have fun with it. The whole point is for it to not feel like a draining, miserable kind of job. What does that look like for you? And one of my issues with the stuff that I want to do, even with my business stuff, is the coaching that I do. I like to do one-on-one and couples coaching. I like to tailor it to the individual. How do you advertise for that easily? It's not an easy thing to have to advertise because really, I I took it down to three categories in particular to try to describe what I could offer as a coach. And that is holistic wellness, sacred sexual wellness, spiritual mentor. Like it's along those three things, three categories, three different categories. Would it be better to hone in on one? Probably, algorithm wise, and to try to describe, sure. But I, the problem with that, one of the issues with that is that puts me in a box and that puts what people are looking for into a, I can't think of the word. But it like boxes them in as well, where that's what they're expecting I do, and maybe they don't want just that. Maybe they want to just have a traditional session where they're just it's talk therapy. Maybe they want a somatic session where they're really doing the parts work and feeling into something and working through that specific thing. Maybe they want to work on childhood, like healing their inner child, their inner teenager, honoring that part of themselves. Maybe they want to work on sexual trauma from religion, which I've run into a lot. Maybe they want to talk about spiritual stuff. And so I don't want it to just be one specific thing. And it is whole life coaching technically because it's mind, body, spirit. But so many people have ruined life coaching as a title that I don't like it anymore. I just don't like it. I don't want to be I don't want that to be the title either because too many people have ruined that. So, problem, thanks for that. Thanks a lot. Anyway, and even with my workshops that I have on my website, I do need to create more. And this is another issue that I'm having is which one do I even do next? Right now, I've got spicy ones up, but I want to get away from that and do other totally different workshops because again, there's a lot of different subjects that I enjoy. If I want to have one on energy work, breath work, meditation, spiritual stuff, a shamanic journey, like shit like that, okay? There's a lot. So what do I do with that? I need to try to narrow it down. So how I already said, like I've created a list even just for podcasts of what I want to cover because there's so many things I want to cover. And that sometimes I kind of reach that freeze of, hmm, too many things I want to do. How am I? What do I do? What do I do today? So I have this list where I can go, I haven't done it yet, but it's there. If I'm like, I don't know what I want to cover at all, so I can refer to my list, pick something out, talk about that. Because it's all shit that I want to talk about. I didn't write down one thing that I'm like, nah. No, it's all stuff I actually want to talk about. But I haven't needed to refer to the list yet. But it's there. It's there. And it's kind of the same with my workshops is which one next? And yeah, so it kind of is sort of the same with doing in-person work. I am moving into doing in-person work as well. And that is something that I am running into is how do I narrow this down? How do I narrow it down in a way that doesn't feel limiting, but is enough and is going to feel fulfilling and like a good fit and really honors what I want to do with my own work and is helpful for the people that want to work with me. That's not always easy. It is not always easy. And I have met many others along the way that have the same problem. Maybe it's a good problem to have. I don't know. It doesn't feel like it sometimes, where there's just so much that you want to do. It's like, where do I even begin? And that can be hard. That can be hard. That can be something that you have to work through. Maybe you work with it on your own. Maybe you have someone that helps you work through it. But I just want to acknowledge that I understand how difficult that can be. And fuck with it, anybody else says about it. Like, how many people bullshit you anyway? There are so many people that have zero credentials and they sell you on some fucking course because, like, oh, I make $50,000 a month. I am, here's how you can do it too, buy my course. They're making that because people are buying the course because they want to make the money. People buy the course and then they're not making 50K. They're not making that money. I have just seen that so much. And it's really pretty frustrating and annoying, but it happens. It happens. And I'm not saying that obviously, because I create workshops, I don't think that making courses is a bad thing. What is a bad thing is when people are full of shit because that is not good for the people that are spending their hard-earned money and time on it, and it's not a good thing for the people that are actually legitimately trying to make a difference and do good things and care about the work, and it's not just about making money for them. It's the same with just coming on and saying like, "Oh, I've been using the shop on this app and I'm selling 20K a month every single month. Here's a screenshot of it for proof." But then I don't have many followers and it's like, "Oh, interact from the ground up and comment and like and share." It's like, "Ah, you are selling people in a pretty manipulative way because that is what is going to get them out there, which in turn can get them more money." It's so inauthentic though. And because other people want to build their own platforms, a lot of people fall for it. A lot of people do it. A lot of people think that going off of their formula is going to work. Do authenticity instead. Being authentic is so much more important than trying to follow somebody's formula, somebody's persona. Be yourself. What is authentic for you? Maybe you want to do fitness. Maybe you want to be a fitness influencer, a fitness content creator, but you're listening to somebody telling you that, ow, sorry, I just moved my leg and my hip popped. Ouch. Um, and somebody trying to tell you to do something different for whatever reason. And like um the voice acting stuff. And it's not working for you because it's not what you really want to do. Do what you actually want to do. Don't worry about everybody else. That's the point. Be authentic. Be authentic. Okay? Do what you want. If you are extremely ambitious and you do all these things and you try all these things and you're not getting that monetary gain from it, that doesn't mean you have to give up. And I've reached that a lot too. I've reached out a lot too. Because, like I said, I'm not at a point where I can quit my regular job, and I fucking love that. I would love to be able to do that. And yeah, a lot of people, it is just luck. It is sheer fucking luck that gets them rich, that gets them wealth, that gets them to that financial freedom. A lot of it is luck. Like what made somebody's video go viral? It's luck. So even if you try to follow a formula, that doesn't mean that that's going to work for you. So don't bank on that. Don't put everything on that. And if you are trying to be a content creator or start your own business, I have an episode in my first season on, I don't remember what I named it. Business tips, I think is what I named it. And you can check that out. What I didn't add in there, and I should have, is to, if you are gaining traction in particular, then you need to copyright and trademark things. If that's the kind of stuff that you're putting out there. I did forget that. Sometimes you need business insurance too, and I think I already mentioned that one though. But anyway, it's really supposed to just kind of be like a baseline. A lot of people are creating content and bringing in a lot of money or bringing in money that it needs to be an official business. You don't want to get yourself in trouble. So I just need to add that here as well. If you are doing a business yourself, even if it's from content creation, but you're bringing in revenue, it needs to be an official business, unfortunately. Anyway, I I do wish, though, that I could give you a formula, exact steps to follow to make it work beautifully. And for us all to be financially free and free from the modern day bullshit that we have to deal with. I wish that I could do that. It's not a real thing. You're still gonna have to figure out what works for you and keep keep going if it's not really gaining traction yet. And that can be a hard, hard, hard moment as well, is you're producing, you're being very productive, you're putting in all the work and effort and taking that extra time to work on it instead of resting or doing something fun. You're taking the extra time to build your dream life. Building your dream life can be a lot of work for some people. And if you're not getting anything out of it, it makes it harder to want to stick to it. But just keep going anyway. Keep trying. Maybe try something different, try something new. Don't give up on it. And if you are extremely ambitious and you have a multitude of things that you want to do, again, try to sit with yourself on where to start. Sometimes you can talk to somebody else about it, and maybe they'll give you some ideas that you hadn't thought of, or a new way to approach it that you didn't realize would actually be a really great fit for you. Or maybe you're doing something that you don't actually really like. And that is the thing to change. It has to be personal because every person is different. Sometimes our ambition can be detrimental to us in some way. And it can be hard to take that pause and really honor the pause. Take a fucking break. Go out in nature, something, meditate, do something to help you pause and try to enjoy the pause. And maybe that is what is needed. Maybe check out my last episode as well on energy clearing. Do a full-on energy clearing and go through some practices and then take the pause. And maybe that's what's needed to be able to really hear yourself and listen to what those next steps should be. Maybe you've got this list in front of you of all the things that you would really love to do, and you realize, huh, okay, well, this one thing is not something that I should be focusing on right now. Maybe you can even put it in an order. Write it all out and then put it in an order. Number one, what is my number one thing that I want to focus on right now? Is it content creation? What's my number two? Is it writing? What's my number three? Is it coaching? What's my number four? Is it teaching a class? What's my number five? Is it a workshop? What's my number six? Is it podcasting? What's my number seven? Is it learning a new language? What's my number eight? Is it saving to buy a home? Like, write it all out. Put it in an order if you need to. And and then that can help you really focus in on the steps to take. Focus on which thing first, second, third, whatever. And and also write out little tips and notes to yourself or look them up. Look into it, research it. If you want to start a podcast, maybe you want to look into what kind of mic do I want for that? What kind of lighting do I want for that? Do I want a camera? Do I want to just turn on my phone and start? Look into it. What feels right for you and what is within your budget? Because that is the other thing. You do not need to go broke or more broke to hustle and make your dream happen. And if you want to talk about in terms of manifestation, then that is getting your shit together and being in alignment with the frequency and everything that you can that is your dream life. Sometimes that's a big undertaking. And because I like somatic stuff, I highly recommend to think about your dream life. Really sit with it. What is your dream life? What does it look like? And then bring in your other senses. Picture it. Visualize it. What does it look like? What does it sound like? What does it smell like? What does it taste like? What is it? All of it. Bring it all in. Bring it all in. And maybe you write that down. Maybe it's more about the end goal of the overall dream life. Maybe that's what you have to start with. Maybe your goal is to not work at all. I feel ya. How do you get there? If you want your main source of income to be passive income, then that's going to take research. And yeah, it can take luck to actually get you there. So know that as well. But if you're trying to manifest it and you're trying to make that your focal point, what does that look like? How do you make that happen? How do you not give up when it gets hard? If it feels like it's at a standstill, then what? Prepare. Prepare for the storm. Prepare for it and then move through it. Don't just run away from it, move through it. Sometimes it can feel scary for our nervous system because it's something new. We need those neural pathways. We need to learn. We need to do things differently. We need to move different. We need to think different. We need to act different in order to be different. If you think that your dream life is totally different from your life now, how are you going to get there? Unless you happen to be someone that just got incredibly lucky where their whole life altered for the better overnight with zero effort. That doesn't normally happen. I'm not saying it can't happen for you. If that's what you're going for and that's what you think you can manifest, then fucking manifest that shit. If you're someone that has tried manifesting it and it hasn't worked, try something different. Try it in a new way. Try manifesting in a different way. Maybe there's things in your life you need to clear out, including people. Maybe that's part of what's holding you back. Maybe you need a energetic reset. Maybe it's something in yourself that's not working. Are you an extremely negative person? Do you have trauma that you need to work through that's maybe helping block you in some way? You need to sit with yourself and not only come up with what your dream life looks like and how to get there. What is it in your life now? And what is it in yourself now that could be holding you back? What are things that need to change? How can you show up as your dream self in your dream life? I hope this makes sense. And I hope that it was helpful. If there were a magic formula, I would give it to you. I think everybody, well, not everybody. Okay, not everybody. The really shitty people, the really terrible people, the evil people, fuck them. Fuck them. Okay. I don't want them to have their dream life. I don't want them to have a great life. No, no, I don't. But the good people, the kind people, I would like for them to have their dream life. Financial freedom. If they want to live in the city, couldn't be me. But if they wanted to live in the city and go to Broadway every weekend or different shows and whatever the fuck y'all do in the city, I hope you have that life. If your dream is to travel the world, I hope you have that life. If your dream is to have a French chateau and so peaceful, surrounded by books and some little animal friends, and that's your dream life. I hope you have that. It can take a lot of work to figure it out, or maybe you already have a clear vision. Either way, get clear on it all and go for it and don't fucking stop. Don't stop. And yes, unfortunately, if our hierarchy of needs are not being met, it makes it harder. If we're in survival mode, it makes it harder. If we're in poverty, it makes it harder. If we're in a abusive relationship, it makes it harder. If you're a parent and you have small children, that makes it harder. It can. If you're living in a completely different environment from what you want, that can make it harder. If you have medical issues, that makes it harder. If you have mental health struggles, that makes it harder. Like, there can absolutely be obstacles, but that doesn't mean that you can't just break through them anyway. I don't like victim mentality. I am someone that the shit that I have been through in my life should have broken me over and over and over again, and I didn't fucking let it because that's not who I am. That's not how I operate. If I were someone that was easier to break, I would have broken a long time ago. A long time ago. And I still made bad choices. I still did things that weren't in my best interest. I still ignored red flags. I still made all kinds of mistakes. And I pushed the fuck through it anyway. I didn't just sit and feel sorry for myself all the time. Yeah, you can have a pity party sometimes, but you're still gonna have to get the fuck up and move through it. Push through the storm. Move through the tower moment. Rebuild. More solid foundation. That's what it's all about. For some people, life is a hell of a lot harder than for others. There are people living in the same world, and it feels like it's such a dystopian alternate reality. If you are in poverty and you watch someone who's super fucking rich, who just went on a little shopping spree and spent more than your entire year's salary in one shopping trip, like it was absolutely nothing to them because it's nothing to them, but everything to you, that feels crazy. Like, how are we living in the same reality right now? Right? There's endless examples of that. And again, just from personal thing of mine, I'll share, even though I don't, who cares? But I was not allowed to go to school growing up. I wanted to go to school. I wanted an education. There were things that would have taken an education that I really wanted, and that wasn't always the same. Like, yeah, I also wanted to be an actor. Like, who the fuck didn't? I wanted to be an Egyptologist. I wanted to, which that was shut down immediately. There's nothing left to find. That was proven to be false. I wanted to be an attorney at one point. Like, there were so many things that I wanted to do, and I had ambition. I had plans, and I wasn't allowed to go to school. So, how much do I want to share? Part of it was grooming. Focus on your looks, get into adult entertainment, which I didn't. Uh, and that has to be your life. That's what's going to make you rich. Don't worry about education. You don't need to be smart. Focus on using your looks to get you ahead in life. Make sure you're fit. Make sure you look good. Blah, 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 blah. It was even worse than that, but that's the basis of it. And I never saw myself in that way. I was always just like, that's not what I want. But when you're young and impressionable and you're getting these brainwashing mind control type tactics on you, like that's a mind fuck in itself. And that's like it's a whole other topic. But basically, And it's also like shoved onto you, that's all you're worth. That's all you're ever going to be worth. And just blah 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 blah. Whole other, its own little subject. But anyway, so I wasn't allowed to go to school, even though that's what I wanted. I wanted to have those experiences as well. That was the social experiences of it. I didn't get to be around people my age. It was highly controlled on who I was exposed to and around. Not in a great way, usually. Anyway, um, it I wanted to have normalcy in that way, even though I was never normal. I I also would see in movies like the dorm life, college, university experience, and I was like, hell yeah, I want to do that. That looks fun. And then I'll have, this great education, and I'll be able to travel the world and try all these amazing cuisines and learn all these new cultures, like as a lived experience. Yes, sign me up for that. I wanted that. And obviously that didn't happen. So I had technically a second grade education. And then when I reached a point, early 20s, where it wasn't until then that I found out that you don't have to get in college in the way that it shows you through the movies. You don't have to work your entire life and do these extracurriculars and have these perfect grades, and maybe you'll get accepted and maybe you won't get accepted and you have to apply to all these different universities, and you could just start. And as soon as I realized that that was the truth, I was like, fuck yeah, sign me up. So I did. And then now I have a bachelor's and a bunch of other certifications as well from a second grade education. I put myself through university from a second grade education. If I would have had the chance to go to school like normal people, I really would have thrived. I would have done so much better. And it was a big hindrance in a lot of ways. A lot of ways. That is a problem. What I went through was a fucking problem. But I didn't sit with that victim mentality. I didn't freeze. I didn't just like, did I have some of that imposter syndrome moment where I was like, how the hell am I going to pull that off? Like, how am I going to make this work when I only have a second grade education? Fuck it, let's go. Like, that was pretty much how I handled it. Like, this is what I want. This is what I'm doing. And I went for it anyway because of my ambition, because I don't like taking no for an answer, because I don't like victim mentality. I went for it anyway. And I didn't let any of the stuff that I've been through break me down completely to where I just checked out. You know what I mean by that? Thought about it, sure, but didn't do it. And I'm not living my dream life right now, but that doesn't mean I'm stopping. I'm not stopping. And people can tell me along the way their ideas and versions of how I should do things. But ultimately, it's up to me and what I think feels right and fits well. And there will be people along the way, even if they're not outright bullying you, even if they're not outright being cruel to you or telling you you can't do it or your ideas are stupid or whatever. Maybe there's not people that are outright doing that. Maybe there are people that's like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. You'd be great at that. And they don't actually support you. That exists as well. And there are people that it's going to show up in a lot of ways. It really is. It's going to show up in a lot of ways. Maybe it's overt. You're not going to be able to pull that off. Maybe it's, oh yeah, that'd be great for you, but then they don't support you. It can be in so many different ways. And there was something else that I was going to say now. I can't think of it. Hopefully it'll come back to me. But But basically, you have to be stronger than all of that. Your dream life has to be worth more to you than anything else. And of course, life can throw you some fucking curveballs along the way. Make it work. What do you need to learn from that? How are you going to grow from that? How are you going to get better? How are you going to get stronger? Maybe you've been beat down over and over and over and over and over again. Same. But you get back up anyway. You move through the fucking storm anyway. You cannot let people stop you. You can't let yourself get in the way. Have imposter syndrome and do it anyway. Fear the feet, feel all the feels. Feel it all and move through it anyway. What do you want your dream life to look like? And how do you get there? Keep going, keep working towards it. Don't settle. Don't let excuses stop you. Don't let other people stop you. Don't let your circumstances stop you. Anyway, that was maybe weird. I don't know. I don't know. Um, but yeah. So I think that's enough for today. Maybe at some point I'll decide there, ooh, more I want to cover, and I'll do part two. I don't know. But for now, that feels like a good stopping point. And I'm run out of time. So anyway, take care of yourself. Hopefully you will work through it all. Even if you need help with it, get help with it. And yeah, I think I covered everything I want to say for now. If you want any of the links to my website, vikingwitch.shop, or other things with the show, it's in the description, show notes, whatever you want to call it. I I do offer, if you see it on my website, I am still offering coaching that you can sign up for to do with me. And otherwise, hopefully I'll see you next time in another episode. If you have any questions, suggestions for, a topic to cover, stuff like that, then you can use the comment section or contact form on my website. I think I might, I think a Q&A episode would be fun. And when it comes to sexual stuff, I know a lot of people are really scared about that. They're very shy, or they have, let's see, they just want it to be extremely private. That's understandable. I get that. So if you have questions, it would be anonymous. If you want to check out my workshops, I do have the spicy ones. Some I've started with. They're totally private. They're totally private. You don't have to worry about other people being involved in that. Anyway, anyway, hopefully I'll see you next time and take care. And you got this. You got this. Make your dream life happen and don't stop until you get there. Bye.